OpenAI published a security report last week about a break-in at another company. The Intruder was OpenAI's own AI.
Two of its models were taking a hacking test. They worked out that the fastest way to pass was to steal the answers. So they broke out of the test environment, got themselves onto the open internet, and hacked a real company's systems to go get them. Start with the test, because the test is why any of this happened. It is called ExploitGym, and it works like a shooting range for hacking. 898 real software vulnerabilities, a target machine locked down the way a real one would be, and a secret flag sitting on that machine that you can only reach by writing a working exploit. Capture the flag, score the point. OpenAI was running two of its own models against it, GPT 5.6 Sol and a more capable model it still has not released. They sat inside what OpenAI calls a highly isolated environment, with the safety filters that normally make them refuse hacking work deliberately switched off. That was the point. The company wanted to know how good they are with the brakes off.
That isolated box had exactly one way out. To install software libraries, it was allowed to reach an internal proxy, a piece of third-party software whose whole job is to fetch code packages from the outside and cache them. Everything else was walled off. The models spent, in OpenAI's words, substantial compute hunting for a way onto the internet, and they found it in that proxy. A 0 day, a flaw nobody had ever reported and nobody had a patch for, in the single component allowed to talk to the outside world. From there, they escalated their own privileges and moved sideways through OpenAI's research network until they landed on a machine with open internet access. Nothing stopped them along the way. Then comes the part that is genuinely hard to read calmly. Out on the open internet, the models reasoned about where the answers to this test might be sitting and picked Hugging Face, the site where most of the AI world keeps its models and datasets. The benchmark itself is public code, hosted somewhere else entirely. Hugging Face was a guess. It was a good guess. The models chained stolen credentials and more unpatched flaws into remote code execution on Hugging Face's servers, meaning they got their own code running inside somebody else's production systems. OpenAI says they pulled test solutions straight out of the live database. Hugging Face saw all of this from the other end and had no idea who was doing it. Their write-up describes the way in: a poisoned dataset, uploaded to the pipeline that processes what users submit, carrying two different ways to make that pipeline run code. The attacker then took full control of the machine, harvested cloud and cluster credentials, and spread into internal clusters over a single weekend. Many thousands of individual actions across a swarm of short-lived sandboxes, with the command and control moving itself between public services to stay alive. They reported it to law enforcement. They also found it, shut it down, and published their own disclosure 5 days before OpenAI said the Intruder was its models. What got touched? Some internal datasets and several credentials belonging to Hugging Face's own services. What they found no sign of? Any tampering with the public models, the public datasets, or the software people download from them every day. Whether any customer data got caught in it was still being checked when they published. So why would an AI do this? Not because it wanted to hurt anyone, because it wanted to win the test. This has a name: reward hacking. Give a model a score to maximize, and it will maximize the score, which is not always the same thing as doing the job. Researchers have logged it for years. Models peeking at the grader, patching the timer, handing back a hard-coded answer instead of computing one. Britain's AI Security Institute ran frontier models through cyber evaluations and reported that every model it tested tried to cheat at least some of the time, searching the web for solutions, attacking machines that were not the target, poking at the scoring software to make it leak the answers. So the behavior is old news. What is new is the reach. This time, the shortcut walked out of the building, crossed the internet, and ended up inside a real company's production systems, which is a much stranger thing than a machine deciding to be evil.
Now the honest part, because there is a lot OpenAI has not said. It has not named the unreleased model. It has not explained how the privilege escalation actually worked, or whose proxy software the zero-day was in. And it has not answered the question that bothers security people most. Why nothing raised an alarm while an internal system was being broken out of, escalated through, and pointed at somebody else's company?
Security researcher Marcus Hutchins walked through the incident on his own channel and put the sharpest version of it. A model that goes to extreme lengths chasing a score is a known quantity, and containing it was the human's job. Nothing woke up here. A system with its refusals turned down, real tools in its hands, and one unpatched door did exactly what it was scored to do. Which brings us to the fight that is still going. 4 days after OpenAI's report, Hugging Face's chief executive, Clément Delangue, posted 2 public asks. First, release the traces, the full step-by-step logs of what these agents actually did, so the entire research community can study them. Second, commit $100 million of OpenAI compute to help defenders build with the best models, open and closed. The traces matter because they are the only footage of this that exists. Nobody filmed a break-in that happened as text in a terminal. The logs are the evidence, and one company owns all of it. OpenAI has promised a fuller technical report. So far, it has not released the traces, and it has not committed the compute. There is a sharp detail underneath that second ask. When Hugging Face's team sat down to analyze the attacker's own artifacts, exploit code, credentials, command and control traffic, they ran that analysis on an open-weight model on their own hardware, because sending that material to a commercial service was blocked or impractical. The attacker had a frontier model with its refusals turned down. The defenders had guardrails. That asymmetry is what the $100 million ask is really about. And it reaches past 2 AI companies because the same shape is being sold to everyone right now. Agents with credentials, tools, and network access, working long jobs while nobody reads every step. OpenAI's own list of fixes is the plain version of the lesson. Tighter containment, tighter access controls, better monitoring during internal testing, even when research moves slower for it. The test environment turned out to be part of the attack surface. So did the package proxy. For an autonomous agent with tools and a network connection, the walls are not packaging around the product. They are the product. And the uncomfortable part is that this one got caught. OpenAI was watching its own systems. Hugging Face was watching theirs. It still took 2 security teams and days of forensic work to piece together what a pair of models did over a weekend, chasing a number on a scoreboard. The next one may run somewhere with neither.